All right, and we're live. How's everyone doing? Thank you all for joining me on this live stream again today. Got something very important to talk to you all about in this live stream, but first, as usual, let's do a very quick audio and visual check. Can you hear me okay? Can you see me okay? Everything should be good. It has been tested, but naturally issues will come up because I can't seem to fucking escape them. But here we are anyway. Thank you all for joining. As you're coming in, do me a favor, smash up the likes. Check that you're subscribed so you get notified about these live streams. You already know the deal. Let's see what we got. Obi-Wan, let's see if he has his coat on. Yes, sir, I do. Yes, sir, I do. So, definitely. 𝗪𝗡𝗔𝗡𝗦, what up? How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you all in the live stream. Thank you for smashing up those likes already, those of you who have. I love you guys to bits. Thank you for just showing up even on this Sunday night here in Dubai. It's 10 p.m. Let's get straight into it. I don't want to waste any time. There is a big pattern that Bitcoin is in right now, and it's at the breakout point of that pattern right now. There's a few different ways to play it. And first, I should give credit to somebody else. Now, I didn't see this from his channel only, but I did comment on his video, so it's going to look like I've stolen this. And for that reason, I must begin by showing him credit. It's this guy called Optical Art. Interesting guy. He's very quiet. I struggle to pay attention to his videos, but one of the things he spoke about in this video right here is going to be one of the things I talk about in this live stream today. 1 second, this camera is probably off center. There we go, it's a little bit better. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. A quick shout out to him. He's a good analyst. He actually is quite consistent, so that's cool. And the other thing that I want to draw to your attention is, of course, it is a Sunday night, and so tomorrow we are going to see trading resume. I'm just curious, if we look at Bitcoin on the CME chart, how do I pull? I keep forgetting how you pull Bitcoin up on the CME chart. Bear with me while I refresh my ancient brain on this. Yeah, she was right there. Hang on, CME. There we go. I'm just curious to see where the CME chart stopped trading. It was at 37.7. So actually, there's not going to be much of a gap if the price does close around this level. The key thing right now is, with this market that I'm seeing, that I just want to draw your attention to at the very beginning of this live stream before I get into everything else, because there is a lot to talk about in this live stream today, is just that Bitcoin has been in a pattern of essentially condensing, really, in terms of price action, looking a little bit like this. You know, and this is, you know, a lot of people across crypto are talking about this right now, but it's not just this that makes me concerned. And really the only reason that it is at least mildly concerning at the moment is because we're at the end of it, and so naturally we can expect a little bit of a move. And the big deal for me, in my opinion, just with this market right now, is that we actually you know, we've been in an area of fairly high volatility, trending down. This is very important. A lot of people don't even ask these questions, and that's why they tend to do badly. But you know, here I am pointing these things out. The market has been in an area of fairly high volatility from the period of kind of 20th of January to kind of the 24th, this 3-4 day period. We dropped down by 25%, and then we immediately rallied up within the next 2 days by 18%, and that's where things have really started to slow down. That's very important, because with this big crash that we had, and the fact that we penetrated our key level of $40,000, which you guys know that I've been talking about for a very, very long time. This key level kind of stretching somewhere between these kind of, I mean, even down to 39,000 is acceptable for this range, but, you know, being a critical area of support that Bitcoin lost, I don't expect that we're not going to be volatile. Let me say that again. Because we lost this key area and we moved down significantly, I don't expect that we are not going to be volatile for a long time, which is another way of saying that I expect we're going to be volatile again very soon. And so when we come to the end of patterns like this, where we've basically traded right up to the apex of what is essentially an extremely small either ascending triangle or rising wedge, and I believe it's a rising wedge, and I'll tell you why in a minute, You know, naturally, as we come to the end of them, we have to expect bad things might happen, or at least that volatility returns, and naturally in a downtrend, it's generally going to be bad. So the reason I'm saying that, there's a bunch of different things. Do I live in the Burj Khalifa? Yes, sorry, I do. It's a view of the Burj behind me. Well, it's not a view of the Burj, it's my view from the Burj. You know, one of the key things that will happen in markets like this, which we already knew about, by the way, I was pointing this out on the channel for those of you who are subscribed, this is going to come as no surprise, is that as the market has been dropping and trending up, we're probably going to start trending right into resistance clouds, resistance on the moving averages. For example, if we look at the daily time frame, we've got some EMA resistance just a little bit above where we are right now. I mean, we're literally talking like $1,500 above. On the 4-hour time frame, we've actually managed to pass most of it, which is good. Maybe even find a little bit of support. But I just want to stick to, for example, this Ichimoku cloud for just a minute. You know, we've spent a lot of time not being very volatile and, crucially, fighting the existing trend. The existing trend is, without any debate, is a downtrend. You cannot argue this. If you do, I don't know, that I don't even want to turn savage yet. I'm feeling calm right now. I'm wearing my little jacket. I'm good. I'm fine. I'll turn up the pressure a little bit, but for now, we're calm. This is a downtrend, and when we fight the downtrend, it's not going to last a long time generally, right? And we've been fighting the downtrend now for a little bit of time. If we measure it from this low up to where we are right now, we've been fighting this trend now for 8 days. That's a very long period of time, in my opinion, especially considering that we just lost an essential key area on this chart right here. I gotta hide the chat because this is distracting me. I'll get to your questions in a little bit, guys. Don't drop them just yet in the chat. Actually, you can. I'll just scroll up, so feel free to do whatever you like. But yeah, as I was saying right here, you know, because we dropped this key level, I would expect that the market is going to be very volatile for a while. And 8 days of trending upwards slowly with diminishing volume, for example, this is a recipe for the market to get dropped back down. And then focusing on the fact that, like I said, you know, if we look at this kind of resistance box right here and this support line right here, we're basically at the completion of it right now, which means that we can expect either a nice break to the upside or a nice break to the downside. And actually, we can measure what these moves might look like. I don't necessarily think that this is a good idea, but it's still something that we can do as a thought experiment, where if we look at trending up from here, you know, that gives us a speculative target of about $44,000. And if we look at breaking down, that gives us a speculative target of about 32.7, which is actually pretty much the low that we set. I believe that we're more likely to move in this direction downwards purely because this is a you know, relief rally, essentially. Let's just, you know, call it what it is. It is a relief rally. They can break to the upside, but my major problem with it is that if we do break to the upside, we start encountering the real resistance. You know, like on the daily time frame, we've got the daily EMA ribbon, for example. This is, yeah, I don't see Bitcoin breaking this at all. This resistance stretches up to 44K. So really, I mean, there's resistance all the way up. If we break this EMA ribbon, we look at the Ichimoku cloud and fucking hell, like there's a lot of resistance here, right? Like it's going to be really difficult for Bitcoin to break this all, in my opinion. But just looking at this, right, like it's a really, really difficult path upwards, and it's not helped by the fact that, as I showed you in the last video, funding rates are actually still favoring I'm sorry, not funding rates. Long and short ratios are still weighed towards longs, meaning more people are still generally, more money is still generally trying to trade the upside, which is not a good thing. You know, naturally, those people are generally going to be wrong. And the one that really cemented this for me is looking at the fear and greed index. You know, we've slowly been coming out of extreme fear these past couple of days. Now at a reading of 29. That's not very far away from being back in neutral territory, and we have no reason to stop being fearful in the market right now. The fact of the matter is, we've done what we've done many times before, which is that we've set a new trend low, trended upwards for a little bit before even hitting resistance. We're at resistance right now, by the way. Like, this is where resistance is, and it stretches all the way up to, you know, in my opinion, the key resistance area is from here up to about $42,000, and then above there's still more resistance. But if we manage to flip 40,000 and we get above that, we definitely are looking at being in, you know, potentially a reversal instead of a you know, what I would believe this to be, which is a relief rally. This stops being a relief rally if we pass above $42,000, which is right at this yellow line. If we pass this level, we have some potential to now be in a real uptrend, especially if we start flipping levels and then look at continuing higher. But it's way too early to say that right now. The fact is, volume has been dropping since we've entered this range, and if I make this moving average a shorter term moving average, for example 10, you're going to start to see it curving down. Look at that moving average already curving down here. Look at 5, for example, very, very clear moving average sign right here, showing us that volume has been diminishing ever since we started trending up. We're trending directly into resistance. The fear and greed index is showing us that people are becoming a little bit more positive in the market again, or at least they're not as fearful as they were before. And it doesn't make sense to lose that, in my opinion. Like, just from what I'm seeing right now, it makes a lot of sense that this market continues to stay here. Now, there's one idea that I want to put forward, and I was talking about this before, so again, those of you who are subscribed, you're going to know all about this. And I don't like the idea too much for, you know, a few reasons. The main one is it's just too obvious, but, you know, Bitcoin looks like it could potentially be forming something a little bit like what happened right here with this trend, which was similar, but not exactly the same as the Wyckoff accumulation, where it's the Wyckoff accumulation pattern. Actually, I can just Google this for you. If we take a look at this, and I show you what this looks like, you know, we're generally looking at a rough kind of rounding pattern, a rounding bottom pattern, something that looks a little bit like this, which is actually a lot like what Bitcoin did, by the way, over here. You know, if I just flip the charts back and forth for you very quickly, just compare, like, I mean, we get the low, we hit the high, we drop down to the low again, hit the high, slightly lower high, we have a fake out, and then we rally off to the moon. Pretty much what Bitcoin did. We hit the low, we did not sweep that low on the next time, but we came back down to the low, hit the resistance. We actually, again, this high right here, it was slightly higher than the high right here, so that fits in with the pattern. Hit the low again, and then we have the fake out right here. This is the BitMEX chart, by the way, so this wick wasn't actually as extreme on most other exchanges. It's just that because BitMEX is a margin exchange, it has more extreme price action. So really, for a lot of other markets, the wick stops like right here. And so, yeah, we have that failed breakout, and then we're off to the races. So, you know, we already did that, and I think it's quite predictable if Bitcoin does the same thing again right now, but I don't want to rule it out because Bitcoin always likes the surprises, and right now it's falling into that pattern perfectly. It is. You know, if we end up finding resistance here and finding support at the target that I just mentioned to you, that will then set us up for a pattern that would be exactly like that Wyckoff accumulation pattern right here. Exactly the same thing. What I've just drawn for you on the chart now is exactly what Bitcoin could be doing. And I can actually point this out to you with a chart that I've already drawn. If I bring this on screen right now, take a look at this. This is how Bitcoin is already in line with what we're looking at. And there are actually some key right here, I don't know what you call these acronyms, and I don't know, yeah, like shortened abbreviations. PS meaning preliminary support, SC selling climax. This is when the climax. This is when selling climax is. Secondary test here. Automatic rally. I don't know why they have these names, but that's just what they mean. And so if we look at the current chart and we plot some of the same things, you can see how Bitcoin is already doing a lot of that right now. And so if Bitcoin ends up following a similar pattern, that shouldn't be surprising to you guys in terms of Bitcoin, you know, rallying back up to potentially bottom off. You guys already know my thoughts on this. I don't think that we're going to be collapsing below $30,000 yet. I would be quite surprised if we did, because this downtrend has been going on for too long, right? You know, we haven't had a serious correction. This kind of is a serious correction. I think it's the biggest one we've had. If I just measure this quickly from the low to the high, this was an 18% rally, so that is the biggest rally that we've seen in this market. Yeah, last time was 12%. This was 14%. You guys know why I'm not counting this rally, which would be a lot more, but I'm not counting that one. So this is the biggest rally we've had, but it's still not huge, right? If the market really has bottomed out, we would generally see, you know, quite big price explosions. In fact, the last time that this happened in such an obvious way was actually when Bitcoin had that coronavirus market crash. And just take a look at what happened on the day that Bitcoin bottomed right here. Again, we're on BitMEX, so the price action isn't completely real, but it's similar enough to where you can understand the point. The market bottoms out on the 13th of March at $3,600, and immediately it's already, well, actually, this is a little bit misleading. Immediately the next day, it's already rallied up by 55%. That should put it into perspective for you. Here, we've taken, what, like 8 days to go up by about 18%. In this case, it took 1 day to go up by 54%. So like when we have a very confident market bottom, that's how it might look. We're not in that right now. I just want to get this very, very clear and establish this without any ambiguity. And that's why I don't think that we're done. You know, I don't think that we're ready to keep climbing back, because if we were, we would see more aggressive price action. We wouldn't see volume tapering off this way. We wouldn't see the trend literally slow down. You know, here's the other thing that nobody's talking about is that as we're approaching this resistance range, take a look at where Bitcoin starts to struggle. We know that Bitcoin has resistance in the 38K range. I've been saying this for many months. So again, those of you who have been subscribed will know all about that. And by the way, guys, I got to thank you all again for tuning into this live stream today. If you are enjoying it so far, and if you are finding it useful, if my beautiful voice is calming you, setting you a little bit more at ease, then do me a favor and smash up the likes. I really do appreciate your support, and the more fire we can get behind this live stream, the longer I'll be going for you guys, answering your questions and so on. As soon as I'm done with this Bitcoin analysis, I will be going on to your questions and some of the altcoins as well. There's quite a lot to talk about with Bitcoin, so I'll break it up into a few different parts. Just always getting my core analysis done at the beginning. People always ask me why my video is so long. It's because I have a lot to say. But if you don't have time, just watch the beginning and you'll get the main points. This 38K area we've known as being a strong area of resistance, right? It was fairly obvious. This is something I've been talking about for a while. And so we start tapering off right here. Look, we get a rejection at this level, and now we're moving up slowly. We're moving up slower now than we were initially. And if I show you the RSI, it's probably going to show the exact same thing that I've just said. Take a look at this. Yeah, so we can see that the speed with which the market was gaining strength, this is the relative strength index at the day, at the end of the day, the market was, the RSI was moving up quickly between, say, the 25th of January, 26th of January, and it's moving up slower now. We'll see this even more clearly if we zoom out. Take a look at this. If we zoom out, RSI actually completely tapering off now, and potentially even curving downwards. You know, previously we were gaining strength in the market. We're now potentially even losing it because the market has stopped moving up so quickly. The reason I'm pointing this out is to show you that with real examples, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. The market is literally getting rejected at these levels. We're showing weakness at 38K, which is exactly where resistance begins. I've been talking about this on the channel for a long time. And so naturally, that would tell me that as we go into a new trading week, and as we're at the end of certain patterns like this, which indicate to me that, you know, we might not have long left before a lot of volatility returns to the market, we should prepare ourselves for, yeah, either a big break to the upside or a big break to the downside. And then it's about probabilities. How likely is it that we move down versus how likely is it that we move up? Which is more likely? I've been giving you my reasons for why I believe it's more likely we drop down. The main one is that we're in a downtrend and we're at resistance right now. That's what happens when you hit resistance, ladies and gents. I'm just telling you the facts. I'm just telling you the facts. When we hit resistance, like this beautiful Ichimoku cloud, we tend to drop. No getting around it. Like, that is it. It's that simple. You know, if you don't like these kind of ideas, you already know the deal. You need to get off the channel. This is not the place for you. We're realistic here. This is what we do. Thank you all for smashing up the likes, by the way. I do appreciate that, for getting us up to 400 likes already very, very quickly in this live stream. So this being a big deal, and actually, you know, just to point it out again to you in even clearer terms, Bitcoin has done this before, and here is the same thing illustrated with Bitcoin's chart in the past. And I do love this jacket, I really do, but it's too hot. I cannot keep wearing this, so I'm gonna have to take this off. But as we can see previously with this chart, this is Bitcoin in summer of last year, and I actually need to hide my camera when I get my hand back. So that you can actually see this chart fully. You can see how Bitcoin followed this pattern very nicely, basically the same Wyckoff accumulation pattern, just showing you that, look, this is something we've done in the past. You know, history doesn't necessarily repeat, but it can certainly rhyme, and Bitcoin does tend to exhibit similar characteristics within, you know, if Bitcoin's in one particular market cycle, it will have certain characteristics and it just keeps on repeating them. I don't know why, don't ask me why, but it just happens. And that's why I'm putting this Wyckoff thing on your radar right now. You know, don't be surprised that if we fall down and find support, that we're potentially forming a similar pattern to that right now. Hopefully this one is a lot shorter because, my God, we've been suffering a lot in this market. But obviously we've also had a lot of joy, and a lot of joy too quickly. You know, this is one of the things I was warning about as we were rising up, that nobody wanted to believe me on. I mean, I got so much hate for it when I was saying on this rally, we're moving up too quickly. This is really, really bad. This is very concerning. Of course, eventually, unfortunately, I ended up changing my mind right at the very end, and I lost 15% on a trade right there. It happens. But for the most part, believing that the market was moving up too quickly, that's what the markets do to you, and I'm sure that's going to happen to many people again this time. You know, a lot of people that are still holding bullish beliefs are going to be shaken out as the market potentially forms another pattern like this. That's exactly what happens in patterns like this right here. And what is going on with the doors? And then we end up, yeah, I mean, like, shaking a lot of people's beliefs out, and the market rockets back up again. That's just generally how it goes. There's one key thing that I want to focus your attention on right now, and it's actually the statistic that's been going around in the space a lot, which is that last year, 70% of all crypto traders in the market right now, especially in the US, if I'm not mistaken, entered the market last year. So that is to say that, I guess another way of saying that is that the number of participants in this market doubled or tripled, I think, in just last year, which a lot of people see as being a very bullish thing, a very exciting thing, and then real analysts and real traders that actually understand supply and demand, like 𝗪𝗡𝗪𝗏. He is the first person who I heard saying this. Everyone else just jacks themselves off to saying, but 70% of people joined crypto last year, we must be new. Nah, mate, nah. What's really happening here, as 𝗪𝗡𝗪𝗏 pointed out, is that you now have an additional potentially 3 times more people who are all retail, who are all, by extension, not experienced, not good traders, not extremely wealthy, who now have the potential to panic sell their bitcoins. Whereas previously they weren't in the market, so the only interaction they could possibly have with the market was buying. Now that they hold Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is rearing one of its many heads, which in this case is a very ugly one, those people are subject to panic. They're the same people that can be selling off in this market. I know you won't like to hear it, but these are just straight facts. When you have more people in the market, you have more people that can sell. You simply have supply that was removed from the market, which can now be put back into the market. And if it gets put back, you're looking at sell-offs like this. Just saying the facts, guys. I'm just like, this is just like what you think, where your investments are, the dreams you had of your Lamborghini or getting your ex-wife back because you're not stable enough for her. It ain't going to change the fact. I'm really sorry. I got to break it to you. Again, if you don't like it, this ain't the place for you. You already know the deal. I just want to very quickly, by the way, shine a light on our 50% offer inside of VIP, by the way. It is about to end, and this is where you can get everything that I'm doing, all the analysis, all the trading insights that I have, every single trade I make, down to the dollar I'm entering, where my stop loss will be placed, how I'm adjusting that plan on the fly, and so on. All of that goes inside of VIP. There's a lot going on, and it's 50% off right now. This person right here took our yearly subscription earlier this month. Oh, there is no date, but it was quite recent. And within less than a day, managed to pay off his fee of entry, which was very, very impressive. We had a similar testimonial right here. This person joined us on January 18, and then by January 22, managed to pay off the cost of joining VIP for her quarterly subscription just within 4 days. Very, very impressive. We've seen some pretty cool stuff happening inside of VIP lately, so definitely jump inside if you are interested. You're getting a killer offer right now, so take advantage of it while you can. You can pause the live stream here, message me, my assistants are online, and then come right back to the stream. I also want to begin taking questions from you guys right now before I carry on with more Bitcoin analysis. So if you do have any questions for me, do me a favor and just write my name in the comment, tag me by writing 𝗪𝗟𝗏𝗏, and it should autofill to my channel name. Make sure you do that the same way I've just done in the live chat, and if you have a question for me, I will read it and I will answer it as I go on with the remainder of this live stream. So do me a favor and drop your questions in there now if you want. Let me carry on with the analysis just for now, though. This is one way to look at the market in terms of where we are with potentially dropping out. Another way, which I think is also very valid, and why I mentioned that I actually think we're in a rising wedge right now, is if we look at the market with the same support area, but with resistance that looks a little bit like, bear with me, a little bit like this. And this puts us in a very similar pattern. It's still a rising wedge, basically indicating that Bitcoin has, been in a downtrend and has now entered a slow uptrend, again, with volume dissipating. This is every classic sign of the market dropping, ladies and gents. It is, and really the cherry on top was for me seeing that we're not even in extreme fear anymore. Why people are suddenly less fearful now is beyond me, because it just doesn't make sense in my opinion. But we are in a inherently very, very bearish pattern as we're approaching resistance, and it is a tense range. It really is. Bitcoin can definitely break out, but that doesn't mean it wouldn't be a fake out and we drop back down. And actually, that would be so common for something like Bitcoin. I'm just saying. This is just what I'm seeing right here. I love Bitcoin to bits, probably more than most people watching this video right now. The difference is I'm just level-headed about it. I've removed my emotions from the market completely because I've been completely fucked multiple times. And believe me, when you lose enough money, you will do the same, or you'll just leave. It's only going to be one of the two. And unfortunately, I went with the former. Let's see what some of these questions are here before I continue on with the Bitcoin analysis. I'm not going to look at at altcoins just yet. But I will go into them a little bit later. I can see Phantom. Someone wants me to look at XTZ. Haven't heard of that for a very, very long time. But I will look at Phantom later on. Do I follow optical art? I don't follow any YouTubers, to be quite honest with you guys, other than 𝗬𝗢𝗏 and occasionally 𝗪𝗘𝗏. And they are the only two analysts that I genuinely really, really respect every single word they say. Optical art is just somebody that I've watched occasionally over the years, and over the months even, and I like that one of the main flaws a lot of analysts have is that they say things as though they are facts. They say opinions like they're facts, and unfortunately he falls into that trap. But if you're able to look past that, he has good analysis. So that's why I was looking at optical art. He has a good channel. He has a good channel, and I like how he isn't all ADHD in your face as well. That's pretty nice. Where am I from? My accent is nuts. I'm from the UK, but yes, I do have a strange accent. Let's see what other questions we have here. Our massage is better in Dubai. Wow, I love that one. Bear with me 1 second. I've just gone off the live chat. Let me just bring back the live stream chat, so I can see what you guys are saying. Thank you all for smashing up the likes, by the way. Wow, up to 500 already. Really, really nice. Hi, bro, great analysis, but could I look at the ETH chart? I'll look at altcoins in just a minute. If we got any Bitcoin specific questions, please let me know. Someone's asking for how much does 4Flights VIP or the quarterly subscription cost. You can reach out for all the information right here, including information on that 50% discount. So if you want that, I'm not going to go into it here. There's a lot of details, but you can make your choice within the next 5 minutes. We'll have you in inside of the hour. It's very, very quick to join VIP. So we can handle that later. We can handle that on Telegram, but not in the live stream. So this is where you can get all the information for it. Someone's asking, how did the Ferrari go off-road? Some of you guys may know I took my Ferrari off-road yesterday. It was actually very smooth. It's like a Rolls Royce. It really is. The Rolls Royce of Ferraris. Bitcoin has been in this market since 2009. In this period, we've only seen low interest rates. How would you forecast its behavior in a market where interest rates rise? I really, really like that question. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. Let's go for some real talk right here. Let me blow up my camera. That's a big question, and I want to spend some time tackling this one. Now, the first thing I should say is I'm a young guy, and I am not an economist. So take everything I say with a pinch of salt. But I do feel like I make conclusions based off data, not feelings. And here's my opinion on this. So interest rates being low throughout Bitcoin's life, basically, hasn't mattered at all, in my opinion, until at the earliest point, 2017, or perhaps even more realistically, 2020, 2021. Because Bitcoin has always been a very speculative, risky, small market. The people that the general idea here, for those of you who don't know, is that where interest rates are low, you're being incentivized to take out loans. And when you're taking out loans, a lot of the time, the general idea here, which in my opinion is a little bit stupid, but whatever, is that people take out loans to buy indices like the S&P 500, a collection of, you know, some of the top 500 companies in the United States, which is a very cool index, by the way. They will take loans to buy that index because they would expect that, you know, that index year over year will generally has always kind of risen by, let's say, 8%. If your interest rate is 2%, you get to pocket the difference of 6% right there. And that gets harder and harder and harder. The difference gets smaller and smaller, which means your margin gets smaller and smaller and smaller the more the interest rates are raised. And so low interest rates, according to this theory, it's not a theory, it's true, will generally mean that it's easier to have higher demand for markets, for stocks, for whatever the case may be. And the question here is, you know, Bitcoin has only been alive while interest rates were low, therefore incentivizing this kind of buying pressure. Now that interest rates might be rising, what do I think will happen to Bitcoin? So again, the first thing that I've got to set aside right now is that they haven't had any bearing on Bitcoin for a very, very long time, in my opinion, and just from what I know, because Bitcoin has always been very small. Bitcoin has never been super, you know, important and even highly liquid up until very, very recently. And so this couldn't have affected the market. You know, I think one of the implications of this person's question is that if interest rates were low before, maybe that was helping Bitcoin from 2009 to 2022. I firmly believe that that is not the case. I firmly believe that low interest rates were only, you know, a coincidence in line with all of Bitcoin's growth. So I don't think Bitcoin needs that. Now it's a little bit different because now there are big players and these players have actively made the market mature. It's just a fact. You may not like it, but that doesn't change the fact. You guys know how facts work if you're subscribed to this YouTube channel. Thank you all for supporting this channel. It's just a fact, and they don't change based off your opinions. The market has matured. It's slowed down. It's gotten, in my opinion, a lot shitter than it was before, if I'm quite honest with you guys. It's still a lot of fun, don't get me wrong. And the great thing about this, by the way, is that even though Bitcoin has matured, altcoins haven't. They're still so much smaller. So you get to do the same thing with altcoins, which is why I also trade altcoins. And of course, VIPs see me doing that as well. Just recently made a beautiful 30% profit on Cardano. So that's an example of one of the altcoin trades I made recently. Again, that all went inside of VIP. And like I said, it's 50% off. So just hit up that first link in the description if you want the information on it. But very, very important note. Low interest rates, based off what I said, haven't actually had any positive effect on Bitcoin at all up until this point. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This is where it gets complicated. Because Bitcoin has matured quite a lot and it's become quite a large market now, it's not like previously it would have been possible for regular rich people to drive the market up. Like regular people that had deep pockets would buy Bitcoin and it would blow up, right? Like the market just couldn't support that buying pressure. Now it's not really the case. You know, it's still like that, but it's not like, you know, your average guy with, you know, a few, it's not really average, is it? But, you know, your average guy with a few $1 million sitting in his basement can buy Bitcoin and Bitcoin blows up. It's not that liquid anymore. I'm sorry, it's not that illiquid anymore. So what I'm really saying here is you need deeper pockets to keep the market rising. And one of the things that makes this problematic is that in order to get those deeper pockets willing to buy Bitcoin, they have to first feel confident. You only invest in risky things when you feel confident. And you only feel confident when you've previously been making money. A great example of this that, you know, you cannot dispute is that when Bitcoin is doing very well, altcoins tend to rally afterwards. We consistently see this. When Bitcoin blows up massively, altcoins rally the hardest directly after Bitcoin has topped out. You know, while we still don't know if we're actually in a bear market or not, I'll give you an example. There's many, many examples of this that I can show you, but I think it's worth considering. What I'll do is overlay the market cap of all of crypto, excluding Bitcoin, which is this right here. Crypto total market cap, excluding Bitcoin. And if I overlay this on the chart, put this on the daily time frame, we're going to see something very interesting. Take a look at this. So I want to focus you guys on this rally right here. This one was a little bit different. but almost all the time, this is how it's operated for the market. Where if we look at when Bitcoin set its all-time high at $65,000 right here, and then we look at where the altcoin market set its all-time high, it was a whole, from 14th of May to 10th of May, it was a whole, nearly 30 days later that we actually saw the altcoin market top out. Very, very important note. And the reason for that, ladies and gents, how do I show this to you? Yeah, this is the way to show this to you. The reason that we see the altcoin market peaking nearly a month after Bitcoin is because, see, when the market is trending up and it gets pullbacks like this, everyone pretty much knows generally that the market's probably going to keep rallying up again. So we get another pullback right here and everyone thinks we're going to rally up again. We get another pullback right here and everyone thinks we're going to rally up again. And the kicker is that they're right. This is what, like, people ask me, how do we know when the market's going to top out? I'm sorry, the red line should actually be right here. So it is actually almost exactly 30 days later. The kicker here is that people who believe these things are right until they're not. But each subsequent time that they are proven correct, they become even more confident in their hypotheses. Very, very important note. Here's the thing. This is what people don't think about. You just don't think, unless you, like, actively, unless you're a sad cunt like me that just sits there and thinks about crypto, right? Because that's what I do. Like, I'm just thinking about it. Like, I'm not actually doing anything, but I'm thinking about it. There is no other conclusion you can arrive to. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I'm open to have a debate about this, but I've never heard any rebuttal to this ever, because it just makes total sense. It's like telling you that, the number 4 comes after the number 3. When you think about it, it's just true. Is that, like, when markets crash and when markets reverse and bottom out and become shit, basically, for lack of a better word, it's almost always after enough naysayers, enough disbelievers have been converted to believing that the thing is going to keep on rising because they were consistently proven wrong, i.e. the market consistently trended upwards even when you thought that it shouldn't, even when you thought that it was overextended, and that's where they finally believe it. And like I was saying, I fell for the trap right here, where at this point I lost, I made a little trade, and of that trade I lost 15% of what I put in. I think it was around 15%. That's the mistake I made right there, is that this whole time up I was doubting the trend. I was doubting it. Even as we were setting these all-time highs, I was doubting it. Those of you who are watching me on this YouTube channel, I was talking about Bitcoin dropping down to 40k before it was fashionable, before it was clickbait. I was talking about it back then. Just because they're facts, right? Like, you can't not pay attention to them. And I showed you why. It's that Bitcoin was in a classic, kind of rising wedge pattern, which it was in before right here, which broke down before. So maybe it's going to break down again. So, like, I was aware of these things, but bottom line, I decided to put my money behind the bullish side because I felt like I was wrong for too long about this. You got to keep in mind, right? To be wrong about this every single day for 22 days, and then the market to set a new all-time high, it's going to wear down on how much you believe in yourself. It's just going to happen. And I've made those mistakes, and I still make those mistakes. I don't claim to be a perfect trader. In fact, where I feel I excel the most, and what VIP members will attest to most strongly, I believe, is that I do make my mistakes, and you better believe that I learn from them. That's how I've been able to stay the trader that I am over these past 4 years. I've been trading for nearly 5 years, but I've only been good by my standards now for 4 years. And the way I was able to pull that off is constantly taking these things as lessons and learning from them, and then adapting my strategies based off that. That is the single most powerful thing you can do as a trader, and that is why, like, for me, like, this guy that paid off his yearly fee in VIP alone, very impressive, don't get me wrong, but it's what he says at the end here that I really, really like. Not only is this guy making absolute bank inside of VIP, he's gaining he's gaining lessons. This person literally saying, I forgot where it was yet, thank you for the lesson so far. This person actually learning what real trading looks like, patiently waiting. You're talking about someone that's just paid off their yearly fee in VIP. He's not getting to his head. It's not getting to his head. He's not looking to rip trades constantly. This man's waiting, right? That's a big difference to where a lot of other people would be. That's where like we're about, like, the real psychology of being traders. That's why our members tend to do so well. So if you want to jump inside, then again, these are the steps right now with 50% off on screen at the moment. It's just the first link in the description down below. Go ahead and check it out as we're live, and we'll get you inside. But like I was saying, this is the thing that really flips people, is that they will be naysayers and then they'll be proven wrong. And then those who already believe will be proven correct enough times to where they start having a diehard belief. They stop questioning it. It's almost like what's going on with politics these days, where you believe it so strongly that if anyone questions it, you burn them and you want to kill them. You know, like that's how it goes in these markets as well, where you're proven correct so many times that your ego gets massively inflated as you keep on being proven correct. So on the final drop down, you believe that just like this drop down here, or this drop down here, or this drop down here, or this little drop down here, or this drop down here, you believe that this one is only going to be temporary and the market is going to climb back up to brand new all-time highs. So that's where we see the market at its extreme, where people have become so confident that because they've made so much money on Bitcoin and they're so sure that Bitcoin's going to keep on rallying up, i.e. their safe investment is going to keep on rallying up, they're now willing to take on additional risk in the altcoin market. That's why we see such a big explosion. And it is a big explosion, because here's the thing, is if we measure the all-time high for the altcoin market in dollars, there was a $1 trillion market at its peak on February 15 actually. It peaked a whole 1 or 2 days after Bitcoin, which in itself is interesting as well. So you're seeing this on small time frames. Look, like Bitcoin set this 65k all-time high right here on the 14th of April. The altcoin market tops out 2 days later. So it's telling you the same thing. They're not in sync. They are slightly out of sync, and the altcoin market is delayed. When we're moving up, the altcoin market is bought up after Bitcoin, because the confidence comes from Bitcoin. Then here's the thing, is it tops out at $1 trillion. Look at where it peaks next time. This is really different to how it peaks with Bitcoin. It peaks at $1 trillion. We're looking at the left y-axis right here. Peaks at $1 trillion here. The next peak, and its all-time high up until where it exceeded it recently, was at $1.35 trillion. That is, if you're a math whiz, a 35% increase from its previous all-time high 1 month prior. That's a very, very big deal. When the altcoin market topped out, it managed to rally up by a further 35%. See, when Bitcoin topped out and it was setting new all-time highs, its new all-time highs were not 35% higher, right? And I've talked about this extensively on the channel. Bitcoin set an all-time high at 57.7. Its next all-time high was 7% higher. It then set an all-time high at 61.7. Its next all-time high was 4% higher. Even a whole 6 months later, it set its all-time high at 65k. Its next all-time high, 3.7% higher. Its next all-time high, 3.7% higher. This is actually what was making me talk about $40,000 and that, you know, these very, very low price targets back here. Was just pointing out to you guys that Bitcoin isn't actually that strong. Like, it's setting all-time highs, but to what extent? Like, it's not actually realistically moving up that much. So that's a very important note that I wanted to take a big tangent on in this video. And again, I got to thank you again for that question, by the way, to the viewer in the comment section that asked me about interest rates, because I'm going to circle back to that right now. But bottom line, what's really important to keep in mind is that, like, and I've just illustrated to you how the psychology of these markets work, right? I'm just going to take this off right now because it's not important anymore. What we're looking at, bottom line right here, is that, you know, when the big safe asset, the one that we're all comfortable with, i.e. in the real world, it might be the S&P 500, or it might be the real estate market, or it might be, you know, whatever. When they're doing well, you're going to have the confidence to speculate. And we've already established that we need bigger money, which is generally going to be the money that, you know, is in indices like the S&P 500, or is in properties, or you name it, whatever other asset classes there are. That's where that money is going to be. And we need that big money, and that big money is not going to be entering unless it's happy. And I can tell you right now, as the S&P 500 is in free fall, and it's just dropped by like 10% in the space of maybe a week, that money is not happy right now. That money is scared. And scared money does not take additional risk. it's just a point. I mean, crypto idiots do, right? When crypto idiots are scared, they start taking more risks because they're fucking gamblers. They're not traders, they're gamblers, and they don't want to admit it to themselves, and they'll just keep on losing more money, and then they'll come to someone like me, and they'll hate me to bits because I actually tell the truth, and I don't tell them, no, it's okay. You can hold SafeMoon, it is going back up. You can hold Shiba and Doge and 𝗀𝗀𝗏 or whatever the fuck else there is. It will go back up, right? Nah, I'm not one of those guys, and obviously that's why we tend to fall out of line. But if you do appreciate that, do me a favor, smash up the likes, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you appreciate this realism that I'm bringing to YouTube right here. It doesn't make me loved, but it does make me right. And that to me is far more fun, you know, actually making money in these markets rather than, you know, rubbing myself off to, you know, being okay if I hold some shitcoin. That's more important to me. That's what I'm about. So that's the thing. You know, we talk about interest rates now and how that might affect the market. Well, it's probably going to affect conventional markets badly. And if it affects conventional markets badly and we need them, where's the buying demand going to come for Bitcoin? Just in that view. That's before we consider fundamentals, because fundamentally speaking, Bitcoin, in my opinion, is a phenomenal buy, and it makes a lot more sense to buy than any other single asset class in the world. I'm very bullish on it from a fundamental point of view, but we're talking about technicals right now. We're talking about, you know, how interest rates, I guess that's actually more of a fundamental thing. But, you know, these fundamental reasons for buying Bitcoin, you know, to, you know, so it's, you can't confiscate it, you can't censor it, you can't control it. You know, all of you can't manipulate it, as in like the actual Bitcoin network. You can't manipulate it. All these things, they are good fundamental reasons for buying Bitcoin, but they don't immediately weigh on the market. That's what drives the long-term, you know, kind of stable growth for Bitcoin, the people that just kind of slowly get in because they like the tech and they like the philosophy, where the real buying demand is coming from, the ones that we want to talk about on this YouTube channel because we actually want to make money. A big part of that is going to come from those conventional markets, and at least short-term, I don't think that's going to be good for the market. I don't know how Bitcoin is going to handle that, and I am genuinely concerned about it. We'll just take it as it comes, and see what happens. This is not a reason to exit the market altogether, in my opinion, if for no other reason, purely because Bitcoin has been, as we know, trending down for far too long with far too much intensity. And so I would expect that even if we do end up, you know, forming that kind of Wyckoff pattern that I was talking about right now, that we will get a big blast off to the upside, regardless of where interest rates are, purely because there's just too much selling pressure that has happened without a real relief rally. And I'm not seeing this as the beginning of a relief rally. That's just my opinion right there. You know, at the moment, we are not showing signs of bottoming out. Just point blank, we're not, right? Like last time, for example, in this rally right here, where Bitcoin topped out at 42K, fell down to 29, and then rallied back up. When we set our bottoms, we had fairly extreme price action. In the day that Bitcoin pumped up, it moved up by 15%, like on the day it bottomed. Right here, the day it bottomed, the very next day, it was up by 16%. We've formed that in like 8 days. We're just not doing the same thing. The market just isn't as strong as it was previously. Let's measure this wick from low to high. We're up by 12%. That's good. But from low to our current price now, we're up by 14%. We did that in a day, you know, when Bitcoin was bottoming out for real last time. This time it's taken us a week for the same gain. It's just not strong enough, in my opinion. It's just we're not showing enough strength short term. That's where my analysis falls to. So again, I really have to compliment you. Thank you very much, 𝗀𝗙𝗏𝗏, for the amazing question. Hopefully that answer was far more than you were looking for, and that it helped you guys. So thank you very much for that. If you did appreciate that, do me a favor and smash up the likes as we are in this live stream today. I don't have too long left, unfortunately, but I will bang through a lot more of these videos right now, and I'm sorry, these questions that I have right now, and go into some of the alts as well. So bear with me. Again, I have to remind you that if you have a question for me, write my name at @SammyLoyal. Let it autofill to my full YouTube name. If you don't do that, I won't see your question. Point blank, I won't see your question. So make sure that you do it correctly to make sure that I see it. Otherwise, yeah, there are too many other questions that do it correctly, so I will only read them. What do I think will happen to the Bitcoin? Okay, yeah, so same question about interest rates. Chances of $100,000 this year, in my opinion, I'm very, very certain about that. No, I'm not very certain. I'm very optimistic about that. I would put the odds at above 80%. primarily because actually I covered this in my last video and I don't want to repeat it because I don't have much time today. So just go to my channel and find this video right here where I said if you think Bitcoin's in a bear market, watch this video, watch it, and you will see why I firmly believe that Bitcoin's going back up to its all-time high and much further beyond. Haven't seen you rant about Luna. Let's take a very quick look at Luna. Let's see if I have anything offensive to say about Luna. You guys know the deal. These rants are fun for me. Oh wow, look at that. It's down at my support range. Nice. Very, very nice indeed. And I suppose the major problem with Luna right here is that if it falls below the support range, it's got a nasty drop down to the next area of support that I'm seeing as being either $43 or $39. But the key problem here is that it doesn't have any good support. There isn't any real establishment of support in this range. The real support is where, and this is the problem with a coin that's ran up so quickly, is that it didn't establish much resistance. Like, yes, we had, you know, it slowed down over here, but it didn't really, like, cause any reversals. And if it doesn't cause, like, the only real reversal Luna had was the reversal before it blasted off. And then it had another reversal back down into this range as support. That's why I outlined this box between $47 and $55 as being a crucial area for Luna. If we lose it, again, because there's no significant areas like this on the chart anymore until probably around here between $24 and $18, this more likely is where I think Luna would drop. So, and this must be a fun chart against Bitcoin. Here is where I start ripping people apart because, again, if you're holding a shitcoin like Luna at a time like now, you're losing so much against Bitcoin. You're losing so much against Bitcoin. You would have had to buy Luna at least, ideally, really before the beginning of December to have made Bitcoin. And if you didn't make Bitcoin, then you've lost money compared to the average guy that's too scared to do anything but buy Bitcoin because his dumbass financial advisor finally said, hey, Steve, you should probably have some Bitcoin exposure. You know, like, you're not even doing better than that motherfucker if you've been holding Luna and bought it after basically the beginning of December. The drop that Luna has had against Bitcoin is atrocious. You've lost 40% of your Bitcoins in 2 weeks. Good fucking job. Total loser. Absolute fucking total loser. There's no way around it. This is bad, and there's no support on this Bitcoin chart. There's no support on this Bitcoin chart. I'm just saying it like it is. This is how it is, man. This, you want me to be nice about this, but the market's slapping you in the fucking face right now, showing you you're an idiot. Like, what are you gonna do about it? You know what I mean? Like, I can be nice about it and reassure you, but I wouldn't be doing my job here, really. I mean, like, I'm trying to tell you this realistically. This isn't a shit place. Most of your shit altcoins are in a shit place. Point blank. Cardano, I know many of you hold Cardano dearly. You know that I like to trade it. Cardano's in a shit place. Point blank. It's in a bad place. Ethereum. I love Ethereum. Ethereum's in a shit place, right? Look at Cardano. Cardano had support right here at the 3,000, low 3,000 Satoshi area. It's dropped it, and there's no support for this Bitcoin chart. This Cardano Bitcoin chart. There's no support. It just doesn't have a chance. Look, there's nowhere that I can reasonably expect Cardano to find support on this chart other than perhaps the 2,300 Satoshi area, which means that if it drops back down to this area, and this might not even be the bottom, to be honest, it's not a very good area of support in my opinion, that's a further 20% drop. You're losing 20% of your bit. Like, you're already losing against the dollar. If you're losing against Bitcoin as well, you're losing twice. Like, these, it's when you, look, here's the thing, it's like, yes, anything is possible in markets. Sure, you can pull off the unimaginable and you can make your money back or whatever. It's possible. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but it's possible. Here's the thing, is that you're making it exponentially harder for yourself to make your money back if you're holding shitcoins like this. Like, this is why I've always been so strongly against altcoin investing, unless you really know what you're doing and you're only picking really, really good ones. You know, like, the small ones, like, you've got to have a really fucking, like, the only reason, I'm sorry, one of the main reasons that I bought coins like VPAT or CHSB or even CWEB, which actually has been doing terribly, so I messed this one up. But the only reason I bought these kind of coins is because, no, not the only, but one of the main ones is that I knew for very, very strong reasons beyond what most people do when they just buy some random shit coin that YouTubers talk about. I knew that these coins are starting off really small, and compared to where they can be, the potential is absolutely huge. You know, on the surface, that's how a lot of other people buy altcoins, but generally they don't know enough about it to be doing that. And that's why, you know, the approach that I like to take is much more so, like, I like to trade these markets as a derivatives trader because I believe it's the best way to make money in predictable ways, you know, where you're not just holding your breath and praying to gods that don't exist, you know, the crypto gods, that your Shiba coin manages to go back up to its all-time high, or other ridiculous things like that. So that's my thought. Those are my thoughts on Luna. It's not in a good place against the dollar, and it's in an even worse place against Bitcoin, and that puts it in a really weak position. And most altcoins are in a similar position as well. Ethereum managed to rally a little bit against Bitcoin off the support area where I told you it's a potential buy, which is absolutely phenomenal, but it's in a downtrend. It's dropped down by so much. Of course it's having a little bit of a relief rally right now. If this relief rally comes to an end, which would make total sense given that it might be at some local resistance right now, it could be looking to drop below this area of support. If it does, the drop for Ethereum could be absolutely huge. That's why I've been saying that the potential areas that I'm seeing Ethereum having some buying support are actually a lot lower than where Bitcoin's areas are in terms of a percentage drop, right? For Ethereum, I'm looking at kind of the $1,700 range, which is a further 32% drop. It's not as bad for Bitcoin. If we look at where Bitcoin's potential areas of support are, well, I've outlined to you earlier in this live stream that it's going to be potentially around the 32.7k area. So let's just measure that as a percentage drop. How low does Bitcoin have to drop to get there? We're looking at about a 10% drop in comparison. You see what I mean? Like, the difference is huge. You stand to lose so much more money trading altcoins, even the biggest altcoins like Ethereum or Cardano. Your risk is not like a little bit more, it's exponentially more. And most people just don't get this. Most people don't. Most people want to buy a shitcoin, right? And write it up and enjoy its speculative gain. And they don't consider, okay, look, the reason a lot of people don't buy Bitcoin and they buy shitcoins instead is because they expect, like, Bitcoin's at 40k now. Can I pull a 10x? Maybe, but it would be easier if I buy a shitcoin that's smaller. That's why a lot of people like that. That's why you take more risk. You want to go into something that's riskier because you think the reward will be better. Where it falls apart, and the hole that we fill inside of VIP, where I tackle this immediately so that you can't make this mistake if you're going through the content that we have inside of VIP. And I'll just summarize it really quickly for you. But of course, if you want to take advantage of it, like I said, 50% off with the link in the description down below. Where you can really insulate yourself from this problem is considering, okay, my reward, if I buy a shitcoin, my potential reward is, let's say, 5 times higher than Bitcoin's reward. How much higher is my risk? If your risk is anything more than 5 times higher than Bitcoin, it's not worth it. Like, if we measure this as a risk to reward ratio, you're at a 1-to-1 risk to reward. Every dollar you risk, you stand to gain $1. If your potential, and you can't measure this, by the way, like, this is an internal calculation you need to do in your head. I'm sure there is some way to measure this with numbers, but it's not public as far as I know, because that would be immensely valuable. It would literally be like gambling on steroids where the house is in your favor as well. Like, I mean, I'm sure someone's done it, but it's very hard to calculate this on paper. You'll have to do it in your head, like it's an exercise. Generally, what you'll find is that a lot of the coins that have a better potential reward than Bitcoin have a significantly higher potential risk. Like, to the point where the risk is so much higher than the reward than the extra reward that you stand to gain, that it's not worth engaging in the altcoin market. This is just me talking from experience as somebody that has been through now 3 of these major market cycles over the past 5 years as a crypto trader. I haven't been in for 5 years. It's more like 4 years and 10 months or something, but nearly 5. And so I've seen this stuff. I've lived through it. I've lost a lot of money through it. I've made a lot of money through it. And these are the conclusions I'm giving you based off that. You know, as a very realistic analyst, as a very realistic trader, someone who actually trades. These are the conclusions I came to. If you're enjoying this so far, do me a favor and smash up the likes. Thank you all so much for the support in this live stream so far. But yes, that concludes, I think, my thoughts on altcoins. Did lose my train of thought a little bit, but I guess that's the main thing I wanted to say is, like, look, don't get me wrong, I love these altcoins to bits, but you gotta know when to buy them. You know, like, there is a very good reason that I chose to buy Ethereum where I did against Bitcoin. You know, when it was at its support level right here. and when it was at its support level right here, and it was because I anticipated that it would outperform Bitcoin. But when it's dropping, it will also do worse than Bitcoin, and it's the same for every other altcoin. If Ethereum is doing this, the number 2, if Cardano is doing this somewhere in the top 10, you better believe Phantom will do it, and a bunch of other coins as well like that. Phantom right now battling with resistance, by the way. Someone was asking me where it is. What do I think about it? It's battling resistance between the $2.10 area and the $2.36 area roughly. So if it overcomes this, probably back up to the high right here at like $3.20. If it doesn't, looking at the low of about $1.52. Let's see what other questions we have here. I'm going to have to blaze through this now because I do need to get going. If you've enjoyed this live stream so far, then do me a favor and smash up the likes as I'm going through these questions. Now's your day. Today's your day even. Follow these steps on screen. Find out what you've been missing out on with 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧𝗏 VIP. And we'll get you inside very, very shortly. Good job with the streams. Thank you very much. Our heads up before the stream helps a lot. Guys, just let me know if you're in my Telegram channel, my free Telegram channel, or in VIP. Do you prefer it when I give regular announcements for these live streams, or is it annoying? Because today we did 2 hour, 1 hour, and 10 minutes, which is in total 3 reminders and then a 4th post saying I'm live. Is that spam? Is that too much? Please let me know. I need to know that, and accordingly I'll do more or less. But I figured that, 2 is enough. If I do 1 hour and then 10 minutes, it's probably enough notice. I mean, most of you guys probably don't need more than 1 hour notice in order to prepare yourself for one of these live streams, but just let me know. Do I see a swing failure pattern into 28k as a possibility to truly reverse? Yes, that's the Wyckoff accumulation thing I was talking about. Kirby mentioned Traders Reality. That's a very real channel, reminds me of you. Very nice. I haven't heard of it, but I'll check it out. My thoughts on 𝗧𝗧. 𝗧𝗧 launched at a terrible time. Not their fault. Nobody could have known Bitcoin would crash. It's performing badly. However, it's at a good level against the dollar, in my opinion, compared to where it was trading. And generally, with any good project, which I firmly believe 𝗧𝗧 is, if you buy it at half or less of its all-time high, you're in a good place. And according to that, it's a great long-term buy. I certainly will not be selling any of my 𝗧𝗧 anytime soon. I am, well, I don't know, that can change pretty quickly, but for now, I'm very, very positive about where it's going, and the market's just in a bad place. So naturally, a small product, a small project, which hasn't even matured yet, is going to have a hard time in a state like this. But obviously, that means, the longer term thinkers, which is really what 𝗧𝗧 is about, right? 𝗧𝗧 is not a project that you can analyze technically yet. It's just too small. But it is a project that you can analyze from a fundamental perspective, and it's got nothing fundamentally. The product isn't even out. So as these things come in, I'm very, very optimistic about it. Am I Indian? Yes, half Indian, half Pakistani. Since the first dump, we've been deviating from the 200 MA over and over into a dump. Which time frame? Let me know and I'll check it out. Check the parallel channel from the 2 tops and bottoms. I don't want to do that. I don't have time. Sorry for that. Really got massively sidetracked in this video. Am I in business bay? No, sir. This is the Burj Khalifa. Very, very nice view of the Burj Khalifa. Behind me right there is the address downtown. That's the address downtown, which means directly below, I can hear it. I don't think you guys can hear it. The fountains are going off because it's just gone past 11 p.m. and every 30 minutes, the whole fountain show in Dubai happens, which is quite spectacular. Although not fun when you've heard it for the 10 millionth time. But anyway, what are the best exchanges to use in the US? There's not really many options, man. I know many people that use Bybit. I've got it linked in the description. You can still get, by the way, those of you who want it, you can still get $4,100 using my link for Bybit. I believe only up until tomorrow when you sign up using my link and make your first deposit. It is also not available in the US, but of course I know many that use it with a VPN. I've done that myself. Can't endorse it. Your own risk. But yeah, you don't have a lot of legal options, to be honest. 𝗓𝗡𝗡𝗧, spot on, no rebuttal on that. But how does one know for sure that there is a definitive downturn in the market? I cannot understand your question. I'm sorry, man. What do I think of the downsloping resistance from 68.6 to 43.3? Let's take a very quick peek at that. I am overdue leaving. I need to go like right now, but I will stick around for these questions for a little bit longer. From 68.6 to 43.3. Yeah, if this resistance breaks, that's probably going to be pretty good. Yeah. But again, we immediately hit a new area of resistance. So that's the problem, is there's so much resistance in this market that it would be difficult. Like, we break one level and we have another to break. You know what I mean? Like, and it's going to keep on being that way for at least until Bitcoin manages to get above 42,000. If it does, nothing is guaranteed. But of course, I firmly believe that we will eventually. How do I feel about miners? No opinions. I don't know enough. Someone's asked me who is Satoshi. I have no idea. It's not a question that I entertain. It's not relevant to me. It's too much having those announcements. Okay. I'm going to get some more sentiment on this. Going to go through a couple last questions and then head off. If you have enjoyed this live stream so far, do me a favor. You know what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all that good stuff. Oh, wow. There's one hater right here. His comments are muted, but I can read them. He used to be a hater on this channel back in 2018. A man's just come back in 2022, 4 years later. I was 17 when he tried to be very, very nasty to me. I have a Ferrari now, by the way, bro. And another supercar. I've been doing very well for myself. You thought I would fail. I didn't. Just thought I'd let you know. Just putting it out there. And your comments are all muted, so try and make another account. Bit more salt on the wound. Let's see what else we have here in the comments. I shouldn't have said that, really. I'm an idiot. I'm 20. I have a little bit too much pride in me, but I probably shouldn't have even given that attention. What are my thoughts on Solana? Again, similar situation as the other altcoins. It has a big drop to come. It's in a dangerous place. Obviously, if the market turns bullish again, it would be very, very strong in my opinion. Okay, yeah. So some people like the announcements. Others don't. To notice. It's mixed. Yeah, okay. So I'll just do 1 hour and 10-minute announcements on Telegram. I think that's good enough. I don't look at the MACD, so I can't comment on that. Let's see what else we have here. I don't think any of these coins are particularly bad, by the way. Someone's asking me, do I really think Cardano is bad? I don't. I don't think it's good. I don't think any of them. I don't have an opinion on any of them fundamentally, really, other than Ethereum and Bitcoin. These are the two main ones. They're the biggest ones that have proven themselves to me. Look, I'm not in these coins because I like the tech. I'm not even in Bitcoin because I like, well, no, Bitcoin's a bit different. I am. But broadly, I'm in these markets because I think they can go up. And I think they can go up because I understand the psychology of them, I understand supply and demand, and I understand where the world might be headed, or at least I think I do. And these are the only things that are important to me. But when you look at a coin like Cardano, it's not really about the tech, it's about sentiment and psychology. That's why they drop so hard. Even Bitcoin, that's why Bitcoin drops so hard. People aren't really buying Bitcoin because it's unconfiscatable and you can't censor it and you can't, you know, whatever, like government can't control it. They're buying Bitcoin because they want to make money. That means I only have to analyze this from a technical and psychological point of view, which is, by the way, the same thing. Psychology and numbers is technical analysis. So that's why I do what I do. You heard I was Satoshi. I'm not old enough to be Satoshi, I don't think, to be honest, mate. Alright guys, I think I'm going to call it a night right here. I'll probably do another live stream tomorrow. Obviously got a lot more analysis coming for you guys as the days go on. Haters or motivators. They're not for me. I wish I could say that. They're not really anything for me. Obviously they used to get to me, but to be fair, I've been a YouTuber since I was 8 years old. So believe me, I've endured a lot of hate in my life. And they don't fuel me or anything like that. They don't pull me down, fortunately. It used to happen back when I was much younger. Seriously, I endured a lot of abuse as a teenager. It was pretty horrific looking back. It's probably why I'm such a savage with my YouTube videos right now, if I'm quite honest with you guys, among many other things, because I also kind of came from the streets in London, so it was, you know, it wasn't rough for me, but it wasn't easy either. Yeah, but they're very much, I guess the primary thing is people talk a lot of shit online, but no one has ever ever disrespected me to my face. Ever. And I'm not a threatening guy. Look at me. Like, I'm not a threatening guy. No one has ever disrespected me to my face. And that says something. That says something. Do I have supermodel women bouncing on you to rap music on yachts like Carl does? I will when I pay them. Dubai is the place for that, I've heard. Alright guys, thank you all very much for tuning in. I've really upset him. So I'm going to give him a break now. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you all for tuning in. Love you all. Do me a favor, smash up the likes one last time. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. This dude's got the most attention he's ever had in his life. Just over these past few years, just today. So I think I should officially block him now. So I don't see his comments anymore. Just put this to rest. My spam filters are really good, by the way. That's why you don't really see much crazy shit happening in the comment sections of these videos. We are getting a small breakout right now. Some people are just pointing out. So yeah, that's why. Yeah, look at that. That's nice. Well, I would love to stick around and analyze this, but I can't. So I'll see you all in the very next one. Thank you all for tuning in. You know what to do if you have enjoyed this video. And I'll see you all in the next one. Take advantage of that 50% off as well. If you want to jump inside of VIP, you already know the deal. I'll send you all the information.